Hi, girls. I'm going to tell you a bedtime story. Okay. We got into the car to listen to the radio and listen to our story. And we're driving and we drove around and went and got gas because you have to have gas and made sure the oil pressure was good and all the other fun stuff and put the bag for if we had to get dug out in the car. And then we went for a drive. And we're driving and we're driving and we go up past the turnoff to Grandpa and Grandma's cabin. And then we kept going and we kept driving. And then we drove up around to look at all the trees. And we saw a bunch of deer across the road and saw a guy in a van camping on the side of the road. And then it was getting dark, but we were still having fun. So we went and kept driving and driving and driving. And we went back up past these corrals and saw the corrals and saw people sitting off in the middle of nowhere, wondering if they needed help. But we would check on them on the way back out. And we drove up and we saw some snow and we drove through the snow and drove up over and saw tracks that went up over a little bit further. And then we drove around above this big pond, and we went over there, and there was some kids sitting there in a little SUV, and we said hi to them and asked how it was driving in, and they were all excited and having fun, just hanging out with each other. And then we went for a drive up to see where the rest of the tracks went, and then halfway up the hill the tracks ended, so someone had to back all the way down the hill in the snow. And we were like, oh goodness. So we backed up a little bit and drove through and got through the snow where we could get up and turn around. And we went and drove past all the tracks in the snow and found a place to turn around that's on the road. And we stayed on the road and turned around. But it was so pretty and it was fun, and the water was running all over the place, and it smelled so pretty up in the mountains. And then we decided, well, that's far enough up. So we turned around and slowly worked our way back down. And then on the way down the mountain, we saw those kids that were in the little SUV were still off in the bushes hanging out. And we didn't pay them any never mind and just kept driving and drove down. And there was a guy with a little Toyota pickup truck. And his dog was halfway in the truck and halfway out of the truck. And we stopped and said hi to him, and he was walking his dog outside the truck on the side of the road. And it's kind of fun because he probably couldn't keep up with his dog, but his dog was having all kinds of fun following his truck. And he just drove up there, and I told him, well, there's only one other truck up there. And he's like, gee, thanks for telling me. And we had a good time and drove all the way up and all the way back down. And then we called to see if we could talk to cousin Jared, and he's off in some other town out in the middle of nowhere, I guess, and doesn't have any reception. So he's like, I can only text. I can't really get good phone calls. I was like, okay. So I texted him and told him that he should have come with us and that it was a bunch of fun and how much we miss him. And then what else did we do? Oh, we got home and realized we didn't. At some point, we'd turn the tape off and we'd stop listening to the music. Or not music, but we'd stop listening to the story. And in this story, it's kind of fun because there was a big, huge windstorm and they had dirt that piled up all around where they were at. And the little girl got sick from the dirt, and then she just started getting better as soon as... Yeah, I can't say that because other people are going to listen to that story, so I have to leave it. But I love you girls, and I know my story didn't go nowhere, but take caution and be careful as you're out in the mountains. If you're driving, make sure you don't go by yourself, go with someone else. And make sure you've got good tires, good brakes, and all the oil and stuff in your vehicle works. And then make sure you don't get into stuff that you can't get back out of. And if you do, make sure you're prepared with all the stuff you need to get out of anything that you might find yourself getting into. But girls, I love you so much. I miss you tons. I can't wait to see you. Hugs and kisses. Good night.